Okay, moving on, we're going to make our salad for to accompany tonight's entree. Let's get our bowl out and our utensils. Now we're going to be using romaine lettuce. And I like to just chop the ends off because they get a little dry. But I'll be using this whole romaine lettuce. And I also like to score this lengthwise down all of the leaves so that when I cut it, it's already in bite-sized pieces. And we're going to top that with some craisins, some crispy pancetta, some pumpkin seeds. These are roasted and salted. Some glazed walnuts, and some feta cheese. Looks so good already. And then to serve this salad, I have a Fiji apple vinaigrette. Now this is a store-bought vinaigrette, but you could certainly make your own if you want. So we'll just set this aside, and we're going to get started on our entree. So I come from a generation that washes their chicken. I know not everybody's into washing their chicken, but that's the generation I come from. I rinsed it, it's dried, and now we're going to season it. So I'm going to season my chicken with some garlic, salt and pepper, and some thyme. So some salt, some fresh cracked pepper, thyme. My pan preheating, and we'll get that preheated on medium-low. I want to get some butter in my pan, about a tablespoon, just to make the dish a little richer. And we're going to add some olive oil. I'm also going to dust the chicken with some flour. And what this will do is it will create a nice browned crust on the chicken. Once we get it in the pan, we'll do the other side with all of the seasonings and the flour. But right now we're going to wait for the pan to heat up, and while we're waiting for it to heat up, we're going to chop our apples. Now I'm going to be using apples again from my tree. They are not the prettiest apples, but they are delicious. These are a cross between a Red Delicious and a Mcintosh, and so they're great for just eating or baking or cooking. But right now I'm going to get my chicken in the pan because it looks like it's hot enough. I don't want to burn the butter. I also turned the heat down slightly. And we're going to season the other side of that chicken. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I feel like they retain their moisture, they stay tender and juicy. It's probably about a half a teaspoon of thyme and about a half a teaspoon of garlic. And again, we're going to dust a little bit of flour on the other side of the chicken. Am I getting messy? I am. That's how I roll. Okay, we're going to let that side brown, and while it's browning, we're going to chop the apples. So you're going to need, I want to say, 3 to 4 apples, depending on their size. Now, the apples from my tree, they range in size. They could be very large, or they can be kind of small, and they can be misshapen, but that's nature for you. So I like to just cut down the middle and then cut down the sides of the core and give them a chop. And the pieces I'm going to be chopping, they're about a 1/4 inch square. I like to leave the skins on the apples because there's nutrients in the skins. I'm going to check my chicken. And that's what you want to see. You want a nice golden crust from that flour on the outside of your chicken. I think one more apple should do it. Okay, I need to get an onion and some garlic. And let's check our chicken. Looks good. We're going to give the onion and garlic a quick chop. And when that's done, the chicken will be ready to come out of the pan. And then we can saute our vegetables and our apple. Okay, I think our chicken's ready to come out of the pan. All right, while that pan is hot, we're going to add a little bit more olive oil. And saute our onions. And while we're sauteing the onions, we're going to scrape up the brown bits from the bottom of the pan from the chicken to add some additional flavoring to our dish. So now that the onions have been sauteing for a little while, we're going to throw the apples in the pan. It seems like a lot, but it's so good. And the apples cook down. You're going to want a little bit of apple in every bite of your chicken. We'll season that up with some salt and pepper. And just let that cook down. And then I'll get my garlic chopped. So I'm going to use, I think, 2 cloves. 2 good-sized cloves. These are pretty good. Okay. Okay, once you see that your apples are starting to brown and your onions are starting to caramelize, then you can add your garlic. I don't like to add the garlic too soon because the garlic can burn if it's in the pan for too long. So I think right about now we can add the garlic and let all of the flavors start to meld. And I just let the garlic just hang out on top of the apples for a little bit. just to sweat that essence of the garlic out into the dish. Okay, right about now, we've let the garlic sweat a little bit, get a little nervous, add them into the pan with the rest of the ingredients. And you start to get that savory, sweet juxtaposition. That's so good, so delicious. And right about now, I'm going to add some thyme. The same thyme that we added to our chicken, just to fortify the flavor. And now you can see that the liquids from the apples are starting to dry up a little bit. And so we want to add some more moisture back into the pan. And I'm going to add some of the apple cider that I made from the apples from my tree. Now this cider is not like store-bought cider. This cider is fortified with cinnamon and cloves and allspice. So it's very flavorful. So if you buy your cider from the store, you might want to add a little bit. Cinnamon, cloves, allspice, whatever. Flavor it to your desire. And the magic that happens with this sauce, the sugars in the cider start to cook down. We're going to turn our heat up a little bit, to a low medium. And the sugars are going to start to caramelize from the cider. And it turns this into a thick, beautiful sauce. So you'll need to let this cook for probably 5 to 10 minutes. You want to keep an eye on the sauce at the bottom of the pan. When you pull your spoon through, it should come together slowly, thicker. I am going to add a little bit more cider, and then I'm going to add my chicken back to the pan to let it continue to cook. And I'll add all those delicious juices from the chicken into the dish. Now we're just going to let this simmer for about another 5 to 10 minutes. You guys, this smells so good. And I can see that my sauce is starting to thicken. Okay, I think we're ready for our dinner party. Let's get one of our chicken thighs, some of that delicious apple compote. We want a bit of our salad. And some of our apple vinaigrette. We have our delicious appetizer, and our caramel apple martini. If you're interested to know how I made the recipes in the video, check out the shorts linked in the description below. I hope you enjoyed our spooky little party tonight. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to Masterpiece Dinner Theater if you haven't already. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Until next time.